Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining. So nice to see everyone. Andrew, Carlos, Elvira, thank you so much for attending. I see some people trickling in. We'll give 1 or 2 minutes while people join. Um, but Preemptively, thank you so much for being here. I'm really excited to dive in today into what we can do to get ready for Black Friday, Cyber Monday, through the lens of exclusive SEO tips and tricks and how to think about ad spend. Again, like I mentioned, we'll give 1 or 2 seconds while people are joining in, but here's a thought. I would love to hear, let's get the chat moving a little bit. I'd love to hear where people are calling in from. We got a bunch of people in here already, 20 plus. So where are you in the world? Good morning, good afternoon, good night. Maybe it's 2 in the morning where you are. I hosted a webinar yesterday and someone was tuned in at 2 a.m. And I thought, wow, he is dedicated to his e-commerce site. That is something. Um, Cool. A lot of New York City folks, Denver. Oh, Venezuela. Okay, exciting. Some people from all over the place. Um, cool. Well, we'll kick it off. No time like the present, I suppose. And as people are continuing to join in, we'll get them up to speed. But I wanted to start with a couple quick introductions. Again, the name of the game today is preparing your e-commerce site for Black Friday, Cyber Monday, how to think about SEO, ad spend, etc. And um, I'm joined today with some serious experts in the field. I'll say really quickly, my name is Jack. I'm the Chief Brand Officer at Nostra. It's a site speed company. Um, I own my own brand, which I'm most passionate about, but I've been doing this for years and I'm excited to be invited here to help host this webinar with Ricardo and Mo. So Ricardo, I'll pass it off to you. Would love to hear a couple of introductions and we'll get things cooking.
All right, sounds good. Thank you, Jack. And welcome everyone. Haven't hosted one of these in a while. But my name is Ricardo. I'm the founder of the Zuti Digital Agency. And I've been in the agency side for about 12 years now, until we started Zuti about 6 years ago. And my experience lies mostly on e-commerce, fashion, luxury, jewelry, skincare, beauty space. I'm excited to bring a little bit of the knowledge that we've been able to put together over so many years. And the idea here is what I want you guys is to take value with you today. That's what I really, I think there's going to be things for people who are intro to their lives to SEO, to PPC, to paid social, but there's going to be some really advanced tactics as well. If you've been running your brand for several years, I'm pretty sure that you're going to find some interesting things. Okay. So I have Mo here with me as well. He might jump in at any point. Mo is head of technical SEO here at Zuti and a partner. Okay.
Beautiful. Thanks so much, Ricardo. Well, let's do this. I'll talk a little bit about the structure of the webinar. So in keeping up with Ricardo's push to have you leave today with some tangible, real, ideas and tactics on how you can better be prepared for Black Friday, Cyber Monday. The first thing I'd love for everyone to do is put your URLs in the chat. If you're an operator, if you're working on a brand, if you're a founder, put your URLs in the chat, and we'll spend the first couple minutes of the webinar live auditing. So thank you for the folks who are putting them in. The more the merrier. Dean, thank you. I appreciate you throwing it in there. But the main game, put your URLs in the chat so that we can audit them, take a look at them, and provide some value. Then Ricardo will go through a presentation. we'll take a look at Zudi, and I imagine we'll probably continue to look at people's brands throughout this whole process. So, we have an hour together. We want everyone to get the most out of this as they can. So don't be shy. Throw your URLs in the chat and we'll start auditing, and the more the merrier. So I'll pause and I'll pass it back off to Ricardo, and would love to hear you guys go through a couple of these sites. Seriously, guys, I learn something every time I sit on one of these webinars with Ricardo for my brand, my little itty bitty, 60K monthly session brand. So there's some serious value here to be gained. And then we're also joined by Rue. I think he's in the chat. So if at any point something piques your interest, if you decide, hey, I'd like to learn a little bit more about that, you want to meet with the Zudi folks one-on-one, just click the Calendly link in the chat, and we can get together and dive in a little bit deeper. So thank you, Rue, for putting that in there. All right, I'm excited, Ricardo. Let's see it.
Sounds good. All right. Thank you for putting some of the websites. As Jack said, I'm going to start already. I'm going to take, before I jump into the presentation, let me actually pull in some of the sites that you guys have posted on the chat. Okay, I'll try to go in order and see how many of these we can actually get through. And then I'm going to go into the presentation because there's a lot of value that I have in there for you. Okay, so we've got Southside Market, and please stay and look at most of these because there's going to be things that are going to probably be applicable to your website as we go through. Okay. So first of all, we want to start looking at the homepage. You have Southside Market and Barbecue. Okay. This is your page title. You're using sort of the same name and the brand, but if you are trying to sell something, if you're a restaurant or if you have products, you kind of want to be adding that onto your homepage page title. And then you have your meta description here, which is the one that kind of explains it a bit more what you actually are: serving quality meats, enjoy our famous sausage, etc. But there's not a clear call to action. So you could be enticing people to come to the site a bit more. And then you don't have an H1, so you don't have like a specific header for your homepage. Okay. If I go through your homepage as well, I think this is what I was looking for. This is good to have. You want to have a little bit of copy. You want to have some optimized SEO copy up here. And then if I were to go into your shop, we're looking at a collection page here. You just have the word sausage. So you're telling Google that this page is literally just about a sausage. And you don't have any particular copy here. So you could have been including, maybe where you source them, the material, like the specific, if it's beef sausage, if it's sustainable or not sustainable. So that kind of information is probably valuable for you. Okay. Let me jump into the next one. We have Artifacts Trading Company. By the way, if you're curious as to what I'm using here, this is just a plugin that gives me some like initial insights into your site. It's called SEO1 MetaClick. Here's another example where you have your page title. Remember, your page title is the first thing that everyone sees in Google. It's what's in blue. It's called Artifacts Trading Company in your case, so you're actually missing what it is about. So I can then read on your meta description that you are like hand-woven home decor. So what you always have to remember is that SEO is sort of like a book. The algorithm reads like a book from top to bottom and left to right. So you actually want to have that hand-woven home decor before your actual brand name if possible. There's not a lot of copy on your page here. Let's try to click in and go to maybe your category page as well. So you have bath and laundry. Again, you're missing the opportunity to add copy. So The reason I keep insisting on copy is because Google determines a website's authority based on the amount of text, the amount of copy that you have. And if you don't have that copy, Google just reads this page as Bath and Laundry, but think about how many competitors you have out there. Think about like the large competitors that you have out there, right? So in this case, you have some of your filters here, like bathroom accessories, okay? And I'll go into this in several of the audits, but when I clicked on bathroom accessories, this actually is a filter page. If you can see the URL, there's a question mark here, and anything that comes after a question mark, you're telling Google, do not index this. So you're not indexing your bathroom accessories. So if you have not built out a page for bathroom accessories, someone that is looking for Artifacts Trading Company bathroom accessories, they actually have to come first to the Bath and Laundry, and then they have to click to bathroom accessories. So you're putting people further away from a conversion. I hope that that makes sense. I'm pretty sure that that's one that's going to be applicable to many, many brands out here. Okay. Another thing that we can do is look at a particular image. Okay. And then we can inspect the images themselves. What we're trying to see is that you are optimized with an alt text, okay? In this case, I do see an alt text that says, rattan round tumbler with ceramic insert. That is a good alt text. That's how Google reads images, but you're not including your brand name. So if there's another person selling a rattan round tumbler with a ceramic insert, you're not really going to your brand name, not having it there might not appear, okay? This is also more valuable when we get into some of the fashion websites. Cool, hope that was valuable for you. There's quite a lot of other optimizations that I found there that we could be talking about, but gotta try to jump and get as many of you as possible. If I go out through the presentation and then I have a little bit of time at the end, I can, and you guys leave me some comments in there, I'll try to come back to some of those, okay?
Yeah, and don't forget, grab some time with Ricardo. The link is right in the chat. So please feel free to grab some time with us. Thank you, Ruth, for putting that in though. And excuse me for interrupting, Ricardo.
No problem. Right, so news strips. The first thing I come here is, what is this? News strips, your page title. So you're telling Google you're called news strips, skip the swallow and welcome to the revolution in nutrition technology, insanely effective supplements that melt on your tongue. So that's what I want to see in a page title, right? Supplements, tongue melting, nutrition supplements that you, I don't know, licking nutrition supplements. I think I'd have to do keyword research in this. I would actually love to do keyword research on this. It's so interesting. But you're missing, again, a little bit of information, especially for something that is quite unique. It's also vegan, so I understand that you're calling this information out here. But I think from a conversion perspective, I think it's nice that you have all this imagery. Then you have the lineup, but probably this information that you come down here is quite useful. So because we've done a lot of studies on how much like someone scrolls down to us to the homepage, like in the homepage, people don't really get down here as often. So I think rethinking that homepage banner so you can have some of that information that's going to help you with conversion, I think it's going to be useful. Okay. Let me go into the next one. Alice Lane. All right, Alice Lane. All right, here's your homepage title. It says Shop Alice Lane Home Collection. So you seem to be about home decor, and you're not targeting your #1 keyword is home decor. So if you're not actually putting home decor in your homepage page title, you're actually not going to be able to rank for it, and you're going to struggle with that. Then you have on your headers, you have actually some weird information in your headers, and you actually have 2 of those headers, 2 of the H1s. The idea here is that you only want to have 1 H1 per page, okay? So if I go into, let's say, furniture, we want to go into coffee tables. you have the look around cocktail table and Blair cocktail table. Okay, so this is an interesting one, and this is something that we've actually helped optimize some of our fashion brands really well. For example, you want to add a subheader here where you are a bit more descriptive, right? Because if you're a designer and you're looking for something that's a wood top, right? And you have maybe, I'm not even sure what the corners are made of, but if you had some wood tops, for example, you want to include that information because a cocktail table, there's hundreds of them, but no one is really searching for a Blair cocktail table. This is very branded, but the user, the person searching for this is actually looking for a bit more information. So you have it in your meta description. Spacious white oak top elevated by 4 radius legs. The meta descriptions are there to entice people to click from a Google page, from the Google results page, and the meta descriptions actually do not count for the algorithm for as an SEO ranking factor. They actually help with click-through rate, which is a very important ranking factor. However, those keywords here are not doing anything for you, okay? You're also having the issue of the 2H1s. And then you also have, let me see your image here. Let me try to click on one of these images. You do have sourced. We're going to talk about sources in a bit, which is you're well optimized. At least your collection pages are optimized for reducing image sizes. Okay. Definitely an interesting site. I think there's quite a lot of things that could be discussed here as well. Okay. I'm going to do one more, and then I'm going to jump into the presentation, being mindful of time because there's probably a lot of value in there for everyone. Okay. Let's jump in here. You have DIY audio engineering gear for audiophiles. This is great. That's kind of what we're looking for. This is also concise. That's also what we're looking for. Then let's go into like particular products. Head amps, the HP22. Interesting, you have availability, the dollars. The add to cart is not your loudest element on the site. You kind of want this to be your loudest element. But you do have great copy here, and you have copy at the bottom, and you have more features. This is something typical of this kind of websites, and it's the kind of thing that you're really looking for, okay? The only thing though is that, yeah, when you click on your collection pages, which are in the world of SEO, if you wanted to know what ranks higher than the other stuff, it's your homepage, your collection pages, your product pages, and your blog. So if your collection pages are really important and someone lands here, you cannot have this much text at the top where their products are below the fold, okay? The product needs to always be visible when someone comes to a collection page, all right? I hope that was helpful in this first sort of quick round, okay? I'm gonna go to the chat like afterwards in a sec to be able to look at things, but in the meantime, let me jump quickly into the presentation, all right? Keep leaving your comments. I'm gonna go through the whole chat as we go through, and I hope that, yeah, that I can answer some of your questions here, all right? Again, just our expertise, just so I can give you a bit more of a, you know, who's talking to you. I've been doing this for a really, really long time. I think I live and breathe this. I've run strategies for all of these brands that you can recognize here, Gucci's and Chanel's of the world. And when we started our brand, we kind of picked up a lot of luxury, a lot of fashion, a lot of beauty. But when you do performance marketing for brands like this, which is so intense, when that Black Friday comes, you're always changing seasonal products. I think it's like the really intense kind of marketing, and I think what I want it to translate is a lot of these learnings onto your brands, regardless of what they are. Okay. And I think now the big piece, what we're here for, it's been a tough year in retail, no doubt. Olympics, election, and war, right? It's just like the perfect cocktail for not lack of success, I would say, but like making it tough on the marketers for sure. You know, there's been a lot of buzz of a lot of things going down. You know, you've seen the luxury brands, you've seen Kering going down, you've seen a lot of brands struggle. So I know everyone's hoping to turn things around in November, December. So without further ado, I've split this between organic and paid media. Let's jump into things that you can do on the organic side. Okay. SEO, it's not an overnight thing. So whatever you're going to do with your SEO, I suggest, we're October 25th, I suggest you start this on Monday morning or tonight already if you can. Your Black Friday page or Cyber Monday page needs to be up already. Start capturing emails, have a coming soon message, okay? And you definitely want to keep this landing page generic for the rest of your life. If you still make the mistake of creating URL that's like Black Friday 2024, stop doing that, because you're not going to be able to bring that page back. SEO is about preserving SEO value. So all that equity of those pages will transfer to the next year, okay? So that's the first thing that you can be doing, is get ahead of the curve, start releasing your page. Another alternative that you can do is, if you have multiple collections or multiple products within your collections that you want to be highlighting, go ahead and create subcategories for those PLPs, right? So ASOS and Boohoo does it really well here. You can create subcategory PLPs for sale, like dress sale or, you know, skirt sale and so on. People are searching for these things. In Black Friday, you want to be capturing all of that demand as much as possible. So you want to link them both from the main sale PLP at the top of the page and also within the drop-down navigation if possible, okay? And another alternative would actually be to index filters, okay? You can use filters on the sale pages that help narrow the search. The reason I'm saying this is because if you see this is the main clothing page. This is the main women's dresses sale page. If you ask me, Ricardo, how do I rank well for a keyword? Create a landing page for that keyword, create unique metadata, create an H1, create copy. That is how you kind of start creating a keyword portfolio and spreading it out a bit more, okay? You definitely want to be creating copy across all of those PLPs, okay? And then finally, one of the most important ones, and this is actually taken from a deck of last year. This is one of our clients, super success. We saw a 40% jump in click-through rate just from something like this. Don't be lazy about optimizing your metadata during this sale period. I think this is a really nifty trick. Not many people do it because they think, oh my God, I need to swap the metadata and then I need to swap it back again. This is what it looks like before Black Friday or Cyber Monday. This is what it looks like during a sale period. We are calling out the 70% off. And if it were actually like up to 70% or up to 30%, that's the messaging that I would use. We're leading with that here. We're including a call to action, and we're also including an incentive, complimentary US shipping. If there is any incentive that you have that is value, people are going to click more. Remember, you're competing in a very complex real estate space. So the more you take up, if you are not so luxury, you can go with caps here as well. That's something we recommend. But don't forget to actually have an alert to move your metadata back. You don't want to be announcing sale when the sale is over. Okay. And then, since we're still on the topic of SEO, and I'm going to breeze through some of these things, you want to create an HTML sitemap, okay? If you have a cluttered navigation and you don't know where you want to be, you know, you want to create more pages. I'm going to jump out of here. I'm going to take you to a really, really good example, okay? Here with Ulla Johnson. We created a sitemap at the bottom. This is a very, I would say old, but also very advanced tactic of SEO. So you click on the sitemap. The reason we have it on a sitemap is because you cannot have orphan pages. You cannot have pages lying around that are important for you, but that they're not linked to anywhere. So if this is your main nav, and it's clean, it's detailed, it's talking about, it's selling the right products and things that people are searching for the most. However, you have to think about something I like to call merchandising. You need to merchandise based off what people are searching for. And we figured out that when you do keyword research, people are actually shopping by color, curated edits, seasonal edits, occasion, fabrication, so type of material, etc. And then within everything, you can actually break it down even a bit more. You can go into denim, denim skirts, outerwear, handbags. You can break into clutch bags. If you added all of this to your navigation, it would look extremely cluttered, right? But the idea here would be to have them here because they lead to a lot of success, because they're going to create more landing pages. These are not just landing pages that other retailers don't have. If you sell also on Amazon, Walmart, Net-a-Porter, it doesn't matter. They don't have access to these pages, right? So you've now created yourself a landing page that you can target with PPC as well. So you can have generics and DSAs, your dynamic searches can start creating, being created from this kind of stuff, okay? So that's something that's really important. You want to constantly optimize your navigation. This one, I want you to maybe actually book a Calendly call with me. We came up with a really cool way of tagging up the class. So tagging each item in your navigation and your homepage banners with Google Tag Manager, connecting it to Google Analytics 4, and then creating a Data Studio report. So we actually know how many clicks are coming to each item of our navigation. And every single week, we tell our clients, listen, people are clicking on dresses more than they are clicking on knitwear, Oh, but that's weird because we're in August. No, well, we haven't finished selling, summer. When we see more clicks coming into knitwear and sweaters, then we kind of swap things around. In your mobile navigation, think about it. It's like when you click on that hamburger menu, it's almost like Google. Those first 3 places get the majority of clicks. So you want to have that there for the user. What are the people searching for the most? And if you're not tracking clicks to your navigation, it's all going to be based on a hunch, okay? Add a product subtitle to the PDPs. Again, be more descriptive. You want to add optimized copy to your homepage. Even fashion luxury brands are doing this. So if you're not a luxury fashion brand that is all about branding, make sure that you're adding copy to your homepage. I can show you some examples. And then index the necessary filters to capture search demand. Shopify, out of the box, comes with an issue, and that is that it doesn't index the filter pages. And it doesn't do it because if you indexed every single filter, you would create a mess. You'd have crawling efficiency issues. However, color and material, if you're doing fashion, is essential. If you're doing prints, size, you name it. You have to know what is actually very specific to your business, and then you want to be indexing that. Okay. I'm going to breeze through these, but these are some case studies of ours with some of our brands. Hanky Panky, we index all of their colors of their thongs. And if you search now in Google for black thongs, purple thongs, red thongs, etc., they actually appear for all of them. And we actually managed to drive 37% of traffic just because of this tactic alone. Okay. And as you can see here, we actually doubled their traffic and clicks. And after 2 years, their non-brand traffic actually exceeded the brand traffic, which is gold in the world of SEO. That's what we should all be aiming for. For Ulla Johnson, which they had the Ellie dress and they were not using the right information, we created some subheaders here, okay, which includes now black cotton one shoulder midi dress, which is actually what the product is about. Merchandising, searching, what are people actually searching for? They're not searching for a branded name, okay? This helped us drive 63% of visits to the PDPs. If you manage to send traffic to a PDP, it's even better because you're sending people somewhere to exactly where they're trying to find, okay? So nice little tactic. And then this is one of the ones that, for skincare and beauty, we're expanding on the navigation by categories, by collections, by solutions, by ingredients. it helped improve more specific collections by 44%. Okay, so this constant optimization, your nav is extremely, extremely important. Okay. Finally, adding alt tag protocols, it also drove 25% increase in clicks. The nice thing about the protocol is that if you need to include color, you need to include the material, and you need to include your brand name. It's an overnight thing. People forget that 1/3 of searches end up in Google Images, and you can be driving a lot of traffic through this section. Okay. Finally, product videos. Adding videos to products resulted in a 25% increase in product engagement rate. So having videos is super important as well in the world of discovery, prospecting, being a bit more editorial. It's a nice way. It's like your ad. You know, we used to watch ads on TV ages ago. The video ad now, you know, it's about optimizing it. It's about having, you know, doing A/B testing. But again, super important to have them on your site. Okay. Jumping into paid media. Yes, I think I'm going to jump into paid media, cover this, and then I'm going to come back to some of your live audits again. All right. What we have here. All right, paid media, the most exciting bit. This is where you spend your money, and you want to be spending your money efficiently, right? You want to make sure that you get the most bang for your buck. Bringing in what I was saying about SEO, have your dedicated landing pages that align with your ad messaging, right? If it's kind of like a storytelling, you're releasing an email that morning, you're spending ad money on that, you're spending ads on paid social, on Meta. You want to bring people to those gift guides experiences. You want to create a seamless experience. If you're luxury, you want to create a luxury experience. You want to have, you know, that nice box feeling, etc. It's super important to have all this. You do not want to be directing traffic to generic pages during this particular period. Okay, it's a very complex period because everyone is going for those particular deals, and you do not want to be wasting traffic sending someone to something irrelevant. Okay. A bit advanced here. I don't know if anyone knows about setting up campaigns, but I'm going to try to just simplify this. If this sentence here, just this, I had to outline this. Creating holiday focus asset groups within an existing campaign. You want to leverage your historical data and your machine learning. This is my campaign before holiday. This with the Black Friday is within the holiday. You do not want to start a campaign unnecessarily, which is going to reset your optimization. It's going to take you to a learning phase. And if you did it too late, your assets might not even get approved, your PMAX assets. So you want to prep everything 3 weeks before, and you want to launch it 1 week before. I can tell you that Meta, AdWords, everything is going to be jammed. And if you're late with this, you work with an agency or you do it in-house, you want your graphic designer to be giving all of that information well in advance, and you want to have your calendar, your sale calendar well detailed. So if you need to pivot, you can do it, but you have all your assets already in there. Okay, especially if you have markdowns and a second markdown and a final markdown and things like that. Again, audience signals. This one is super important. You have first-party data, okay, whatever you have, Klaviyo, and you have your custom segments, okay? You want to combine that first-party data with Google's machine learning. Google gives you audience signals to attract high-intent buyers, like, you know, like deal hunters or people that are searching for particular bargains. You want to include those in there. You want to use PMAX as a prospecting channel during this period as well, right? People that are searching for those deals, it's kind of like the lookalike audiences of Meta applied to this, all right? So let the AI find similar relevant users for you, okay? You don't want to rely only on retargeting because you're going to definitely limit, you know, your potential during those peak shopping periods. And then obviously you want to be leveraging your ad extensions. You want to make sure that your site links, your price extensions are there. You want to call it out. You want to be large. You want to be obvious. You want to be blatant. Free shipping, limited time deals in extensions, included promotion tag, even like 2-day shipping, 1-day shipping. All of that information gets people to purchase because there's always a sense of urgency that is happening around here. Okay. And then early testing and preparation. I talked already a little bit about that, but you know, you want to be kind of working with your feed management tools, be it, you know, we have a lot of clients that are working with a feed, you know, with feed tool like Channable. There are some others that are using Feedonomics. Whatever feed management tool you're using, make sure that you're actually doing some preparation, and that way when it comes to the budget and the bidding strategies and you're into the peak shopping periods, you want to be investing the most, right? You want to have a daily budget plan. And what we have been telling a lot of our clients is we have done already an analysis of what happened in the last election year. You should be sort of increasing your budgets right now because election week, there's a lot of anxiety. There's a lot of people that are going to be holding it back a little bit. And then even right after, there's going to be people that are also sort of not ready to purchase. So we are envisioning that like this year, there's going to be like this big push towards like the Black Friday, Cyber Monday, more so concentrated than in previous years where it's like a little bit more, you know, kind of like a curve. So what I would suggest is be prepared, try to get ahead of the curve a bit as well. We're going to see a lot of brands doing private sales early on, just to try to get those consumers that to come back, you know, so a lot of retention strategies. And what you want to be doing right now is increasing your pool. So if there's any, you know, tactics that you can be doing on paid social that are around prospecting, this is where you want to be increasing the pool so you can retarget a lot of those people in the right time. Okay. That was a good segue because it brings me now to paid social, Meta. I love Meta. You know, it's invasive. It's this thing that just, you know, it can just appear on your phone for something that you were like not even looking for. So Meta is a lot about testing. There's a few things. I've split it between pre-Black Friday, Cyber Monday, and then what to do during. So incorporate key learnings from last year. I am giving you already in this presentation some of our key learnings from last year. So take note of that. But if you already ran some ads last year, go into them and spread them out, detail them out. Which ones got more success? Was it because the messaging was louder, the contrast, the imagery itself? What was it? Was it a particular dress? Was it a particular pair of sneakers? Was it a particular product itself? All of those things you need to analyze, and then you need to bring the best to 2024. Okay. There's no one size fits all strategy here. So A/B testing. You need to understand the style of the creative that resonate with your target audience to inform creative approach, and you need to know when to hit them with that, right? So let me tell a little story. So high-end luxury jewelry, right? The closer you get, so high-end luxury jewelry, the peak time is actually not during Black Friday, Cyber Monday. It's actually December 5th to December 15th, because people are thinking of gifting, and the closer you get to December 15th, the higher the AOV, because certain men who want to gift to their wives a really nice, expensive piece of jewelry, the closer they get to the 24th, or the later they are, the latest they are with buying a gift, the more they spend on the gift because they feel guilty. So we understand the audience, so we play around with that as well. It's important to know that. You want to use text overlay. Text overlay is essential. You're calling out that this is a moment where you kind of, as I said here, during your ads, you deprioritize the logo sizes a bit, but you actually go with like, boom, 25% off, 60% off. Plan your budget, use your daily budgets to capitalize on demand, but consider having a contingency pot. If you're doing well, don't stick to your budget, strike while it's hot. You know, increase your budget in that period. You're not going to regret that. You're going to regret not having, you know, that feeling of like, well, if I would have pushed it a bit more, would have made more, you know? Ensure that you also have optimal budget splits across prospecting, retargeting, and retention. Do not think that just retarget and retention is what you do in this period. This is a crazy period. People just stuff themselves with turkey for a couple of days, and they're sitting down and they're just like scrolling, you know, for hours. And that's an opportunity where people discover a lot of brands and they're willing to spend. So that's a really good thing to keep in mind. And then, of course, scarcity tactics, you know, limited stock available, 2 days left while the stock lasts, and make sure that you're switching those ads every single day. If it's 2 days left, then change them the next day to 1 day left, you know. That's super important. And then when it comes to showing the price and the discount on the catalog ads, it is really important that you do that. Okay, I've got some examples as well that I'm going to talk about. But here's a little natural progression of what it would look like, or what this looked like last year for some of our clients. Here's your initial sign up for private sale early access way before the Black Friday and Cyber Monday. You enjoy our private sale at 40%, sign up. It's kind of like our call to action. You want to create, you know, lead gen, try to bring in people who might be interested in it. It's like a teasing people with a, you know, pair of sneakers. Then the private sale is on, exclusive access, shop now, we're live. And then you can go, when you're entering now that period, you get more aggressive. Everyone's calling things out more blatantly. Get it while you can, 50% off. And then finally, your sort of hard markdowns, the sale of the season, up to 60% off sale of the season. Okay, shop up to 60%, final day. All of these things, I can't stress it enough. You need to be calling out all of this information. All right. And then finally, a little bonus for the non-luxury, and that applies to products and other things. If you can sacrifice some of your branding to show pricing and maybe crossouts, it creates urgency. It really helps a decision making. You know, someone who might just have seen something with a similar price range, but then they see like the bigger the like the bigger the font, the bigger the discount feels sometimes. There's a lot of interesting psychology behind all of this. Even if you know, even if it's actually not that great of a discount, but the large font actually is what calls people out. So don't be afraid to test something that feels a bit blatant, you know, that feels a bit like, well, this might actually just be too much, you know, but go for it. It encourages impulse purchases. Yes, that's one of the advantages. And again, one of the disadvantages as well of potentially showing pricing could be focuses too much on price, reduces emphasis on product quality. But if you actually have a lot of if you do sell a lot, then some of these disadvantages actually just become a bit irrelevant, right? You can attract discount-driven customers with less loyalty, and it can lower your margins if overused. This is an interesting point, and it's my last point here, the attracting discount-driven customers with less loyalty. If you are luxury, you do have to be careful with this, because you don't want to be attracting customers that you sell really well during a period of sale, because then all of your retargeting tactics are going to retarget someone that actually never had the acquisition power to come and get your, you know, to buy from your brand. And that's why people actually see, you know, you kind of tank off, like you tank a little bit after certain sale periods, because that was not a true lifetime value customer that you can actually bring back. Okay. So, good. We have a little bit of time. We have another 15 minutes. I hope that was valuable information. As I said, this is quite a lot of things that we've taken from years of running a lot of these brands. Okay.
Well, it was definitely valuable for me. I learned a couple of things. Include my brand name in my alt text. Okay, I got to do that with my images. That's number one. And thank you so much, Ricardo, for going through that presentation. I saw one or two questions in the chat here, and I added something in the chat too. Was just that, I see that there is still some more people joining. So if you are curious about having an audit now, definitely continue to throw your URLs in the chat. I'll pass it back off to you, Ricardo, to go through a couple of these. But I think one of the real objectives for people out there is that, Ricardo knows what to do to be putting yourselves in the perfect place for Black Friday, Cyber Monday here. So it doesn't hurt to grab a little bit of time and learn how to better position yourself for the next 2 months. So definitely do that, and I'll pass it back off to Ricardo. Thanks so much for that. I learned a whole hell of a lot, so appreciate it.
Good. I'm glad. Yeah, as I said, I wanted everyone to take on value, to have something that you could do. And again, we're sort of in crunch time period for Black Friday, Cyber Monday. So really important to get things going on. So I'm currently find myself in Spain. So this went directly to Spanish. Let me see if I can bring this to English and be able to give an audit to hunterfan.de, ceiling fans and accessories. All right, cool. So hunterfan.de, let's see what you're about. Hunter ceiling fan online shop. Okay, online shop is no longer needed in any homepage or any of your pages. Okay, shop online and Hunter Fan for your ceiling fan and discover a wide selection of designs and features. All right, this is good, but if you do, it says, oh, please do not look at this website. I was just reading one of the comments.
Yeah, maybe back to we're redirected to Spain. So Erica, we should look at the US version.
Oh, we want to look at the
Or
version?
she's gonna drop another URL in here in 2 seconds.
Okay. All right, this one. I'm gonna go with this one, as I think it's one that you just shared. All right.
Perfect.
Paintings, canvas prints, wallpapers, posters, online shop. Again, this is your page title, and you're not including your brand name. Is super important. If not, you're gonna get lost within things. Let's start to look at some of your maybe potentially wallpapers. I am actually a big fan of wallpapers myself. So I clicked on wallpapers, and this took me directly to wallpapers for dining room. I don't know if that was the intent. Oh yeah, I clicked on dining room. So yeah, that's actually correct. I get one of these, and you want to filter and sort dining room wallpaper. So yes, you have copy here. Let me look at your page title. Ooh, okay, your title is absolutely not optimized. Your title contains every single keyword stuffing. So actually you need to be careful with this, because Google might think that you're trying to spam the web. And you might actually get penalized. So if at any point you actually dropped a lot of rankings, it is possible that it's because of this keyword stuffing that is happening here. You also included all the keywords in the section of keywords. This is no longer, this hasn't been part of like a ranking factor in many, many years. So you don't need to include those keywords in there, okay? And another idea is, and I wanted to talk about this, is you do have great copy. You want to have a little bit of copy at the top, and you want to have a little bit of copy at the bottom. So that's actually quite important. You have a lot of types of filters here. Okay, I'm trying to click in some of them, but they're not clicking. So you might need to check your filters, because for some reason they did not click through. Oh no, it's actually very slow. So there's probably a slow aspect of the site. If I were to choose one of like the top optimizations, yeah, this is taking quite a long time to load. it could be that if I save the image as, and then I save it into my downloads, I see here, okay, it is a WebP. We are looking for WebP images, all right? This is something that nowadays Shopify tends to do pretty well. And if I inspect the image again, I can click on it. And what I'm trying to find is, right, so you don't have source set applied, okay? And I talked about this a little bit earlier, okay? But essentially what's happening right now is that you're serving an image, and just to be a little bit graphic, you're serving an image that is this size on a mobile screen. So every time someone actually opens this on mobile, that image is just going like this, and you're losing seconds there, right? So that's one of the key optimizations. And the cool thing is that you don't have to get your graphic designer to cut the image in 50 different sizes. It's actually a piece of code that resizes all of them, you know, all together. Okay. Let me see what other website I could jump into. You had, oh, there was another here, Hunter Fan. Oh, it keeps redirecting. Apologies for that. Let me just jump into one of the other ones then, so everyone gets.
Well, Ricardo, I will mention Erica put a query parameter to pass the redirect in the chat here if you want to attempt that.
Let me try that. Yes. Hunter Fan, and let me see if I can pick this up from the chat.
I
So
love Hunter Fan. I'm a huge fan of the brand and Erica. So
with me. All
definitely
right,
want
Eric.
to see if we can help her.
Hunter Fan Company online ceiling fan store. That is fine. I think again the online section is not needed anymore. You are missing copy, right? So I was talking earlier about like adding copy to the site, and I said, listen, we even have fashion brands that are so specific about like their imagery, but like this is Alice and Olivia. If you scroll down, if you want to have an example of a website that we've helped in the past, you actually have all this copy, okay? And from that copy, you're actually including internal links to your products, okay? So it's a missed opportunity that you could be adding all of that copy there, okay? And then let's just jump into one of these. Your Wedgfield 1 light pendant. You're sort of missing already important information here. This is a hanging lamp as well. I know it's the pendant might be enough to be hanging, but that you know, that's a bit more information that you can be including in your pages, okay? And then when you come into lighting here, what makes Hunter's lighting better? So if you have different types of lighting, okay, what I would want you to do essentially here is include internal links to the different type of lighting that you have, okay? So your shop by type, right? A lot of people are going to end up clicking on lighting, and listen, this applies to everyone, okay? You click on lighting because that's like where you're sort of going, and you actually want to be including within this copy, right, some internal links that take you already to your most valuable types, okay? If it's chandeliers, what you sell the most, and you want to have chandeliers. This image up here, I'm no longer a fan of these because they take up space. And if this is actually on mobile as well, let me see if I can see. If this was actually on mobile, look, this is your mobile site. You're completely below the fold, your first product, right? So someone has to scroll already down. That's a bad score within user experience, okay? And then this is another one. This is a good one for everyone. I hadn't thought of this before, but you do not want to waste 1, 2, 3, almost 4 lines of text. So you're also pushing people down. So everyone uses those top banners. The top banners are great, but keep them super concise. You do not want to be going below the fold because that's going to do more damage than help you out. Okay. Very thin copy, it's okay. Light and accent your space with chandelier light fixtures. This is the only valuable keyword that you have here, and chandelier, so maybe expand on some other things. And then here you have your a product where is what is this? I assume that this is brass, but I don't know if it's actually brass, but it would be important that you mention brass and glass. Okay, so again, I wouldn't need to go here to the details, because the reason you want to have this here is because the majority of the protocols, and this applies to everyone as well, when you go into a product page and you click here, you see this is automated. Your page title is being created from this. And right now your page title is including maybe a catalog number, which is not ideal unless you're only selling to, you know, B2B. But then you want to include like the material here, because that's how people are potentially looking for. I just noticed someone added another site, so I'm just trying to get through things as quickly as possible, bearing in mind that we only have 4 minutes left. We have Kano here, sandals, wedges. So let's look at your page title. Kano, transparently fair and traditionally sustainable huarachis. Huarachi sandals, they're beautiful, by the way. I love the fact in your homepage, you can do this. You can actually put transparently fair and traditionally sustainable huarachis, but when it comes to your main product, you always want to mention the huarachis first. So these are, let me just maybe later, 1 second. So we have women's here. I'm not a fan of leaving all this white space here on the left-hand side, because it sometimes affects someone trying to get here. By the way, this is just like a tiny user experience thing. If we go into boots, oh, and also you're selling boots, but then your homepage page title was just talking about huarachis, so you should make sure that you were also calling out boots and other types. So in here we have handmade boots, handmade Goodyear welt boots for women. So it should be for women. We need to make sure that we have the right spelling, and yeah, very, very small piece of copy here. Then you have your filters are not very clear. You only have sizes, so you actually don't have filters. If you want to be filtering, you know, if you were looking for like a particular color, it's not an easy find. Okay. Then you have jewelry. This is good that you've kind of like spelled them out. You have handmade jewelry for woman. Again, it's the same misspelling here, because people are typically looking for women jewelry, not woman jewelry necessarily. Give the gift of craftsmanship. So this page is for overall jewelry, but then your H1, it says give the gift of craftsmanship. This should have been jewelry. Okay, so something really important to keep in mind. And then there's no filtering here again. Then you have, again, things like Alejandra gold earrings hammered. I don't know if this is 14K gold. If it's 14K gold, trust me, we have a lot of jewelry brands that we work with. It is really important that you call out the fact, like if it's 14K or 18K. And you have Alejandra gold earrings hammered. It's not necessarily bad. I'm glad that you actually included the rest of the description, but then all of your page titles are actually wrong. You're mentioning the brand name at the front. You only put the brand name at the front on a homepage. You actually want to move the brand name at the very end. Remember what I said earlier. Google reads left to right and top to bottom. So anything that you have, all your valuable keywords have to be at the beginning of your page titles. Okay. We have just 1 minute left. So I guess I am just gonna stay here for one last one. And the blog, make sure that you're leveraging your blog for your SEO purposes. So I see that you have internal links here. That's what you want to have, but that internal link is going to another website actually, to carry-ons of Nordby. So you want to be internally linking to products that you have. You want to be internally linking to your own collections. Okay, that is how you are successful with a blog. It leverages your collection pages. Okay. What are your thoughts on email newsletter pop-up forms? Last question there. Yep, newsletter pop-up forms, they're good. Get people to sign up, but if someone X's out, do not present it again. Okay, it's going to give a bad user experience.
Okay, in the last 30 seconds, speed round. If anyone has any more questions, throw them in the chat. Going once, going twice. No, I know it takes a minute to type them out, but look, I just want to say first and foremost, thank you, Ricardo, for letting me be here. I really enjoy hosting these. I do a lot of them for a lot of different folks, and I learn a lot. So thank you so much. It was great to see some familiar faces. It was great to see some new brands in here that I haven't seen. And it was mentioned in the chat. I just, my last call to action, it's free to book some time. It's only of value. We can talk about SEO, we can talk about the weather, we can talk about the New York Yankees in the World Series, whatever you want. But grab some time, it's worth it. And I'll leave you guys with that. Mo again and Ricardo again, thank you guys so much. Enjoy the rest of the day, and we'll chat with you soon.
Yeah, thank you, Jack. Thank you, everyone, for taking the time on a Friday. And yep, don't forget to book a session. All right, take care. Have a good weekend.
Bye.